Hi, I'm Charles with AniCap. This is part 3 of my recap for Deadman Wonderland. Previously, Ganta was sentenced to death for a crime actually done by a mysterious man. Ganta would learn that he is able to wield his blood as a weapon, a power that a few others called Deadmen have. He must participate in battles to survive and earn the right to meet the person actually responsible for the death of all his friends. The story continues as we see the director ask Shiro to continue killing one another, and she asks that he not call her that name. The two then do battle. At the hospital, Ganta apologizes to Yo for beating his sister, and Minatsuki has a memory of her brother rescuing her as he does it again. He recalls the familiar scent of primroses and promises to protect her from now on, but she says she can protect herself. Ganta continues to remember parts of his past where he is friends with Shiro. Elsewhere, Shiro tells the director that she can hear the lullaby once again, and assumes that means the systems are back online. She wants to hear the rest of the song, but he denies her, and it is revealed she is actually the one called the Wretched Egg, the person Ganta has been looking for all along. Ganta apologizes for his part in Senji losing his eye, and he warns Ganta that he shouldn't rely on just one move. Minatsuki rages at everyone as she refuses their help and wants to be alone. Later, Ganta explains to Yo some of the memories that are coming back to him. He explains that Shiro used to complain about pain in her body and all the shots she had to receive. One time, he tried to cheer her up by telling her to be brave like the hero Ace Man, but she said that was childish and destroyed his action figure. Ganta left upset only to find himself in danger, but Shiro came to his rescue at the last moment, proclaiming that Ace Man has arrived. He now remembers how she had always showed up when he needed her the most. Elsewhere, Chief Warden Makina investigates the mysterious happenings occurring in Deadman Wonderland. She doesn't believe its location being at the epicenter of the Tokyo catastrophe is a coincidence, and vows to get some answers out of Tamaki. At Tamaki's office, the nurse explains how the crystals found at the epicenter are what the Deadmen are infected by, and it is also the source of their abilities. Tamaki asks if they would be able to infect people themselves, but she says they cannot, and the only one that has been able to is the first Deadman, the Wretched Egg. Tamaki reveals that the Wretched Egg is his father's personal toy, and that he has never even seen who is under the mask. However, all he really cares about is his father's impending death and his inevitable takeover of the Deadman Wonderland. Ganta worries about Minatsuki's penalty for losing, but she says she is not, since it isn't her first time and has lost half her stomach and a kidney. She tells him Yo when to get his cast points back, and Ganta realizes he must be doing it so he can buy off the rest of her sentence. He runs to find him but is cut off by a mysterious girl. Yo manages to retrieve his cast points but runs into Tamaki, who reveals that the rules are different in the G block and buying back time on a sentence is not an option. He attacks in rage but is easily suppressed by one of Tamaki's men, Genkaku. The girl that attacked Ganta is named Karako, and she attacked him so she can test his strength. A man named Nagi introduces himself and explains that he is the leader of a group of rebels called Scar Chain, whose goal is to destroy Deadman Wonderland from the inside. They would like for Ganta to join their group, but he is in a rush as he wants to help Minatsuki. The television turns on, showing that it is time for her to receive her penalty, and Nagi makes a call to someone. The nurse taunts Minatsuki as she prepares to gamble for body parts. Minatsuki has feelings of fear that are unlike her usual self, and she blames that on her brother and Ganta's decency towards her. She tells herself to once again abandon sanity so she can get through this horrifying moment. Everyone watches in shock, and Nagi explains to Ganta how he actually prefers short hair on a woman, as it is revealed that Minatsuki's penalty is only hair. Nagi explains that he had hoped that this help would be taken as a show of faith so that Ganta could join them. However, their conversation is interrupted by Genkaku, who wields a guitar as a weapon. Before their fight can begin, Shiro appears with a ridiculous-sounding name for her attack, and proclaims that Ace Man has come to save the day. Genkaku leaves as he emphasizes how patient he can be. Ganta attempts to figure out what went wrong with his power and then gets introduced to the rest of the rebels. The most notable is Rokaru, Scarchain's lifeline and the person responsible for saving Minatsuki from her penalty. The group is initially skeptical of Ganta, but warm up to him quickly thanks to Shiro saving them from Genkaku's attack. A bartender is a bit curious about Shiro, and she reveals to him that she has been there longer than anyone else. In the women's locker room, Makina schemes a plan to steal Tamaki's personal records, while Tamaki is busy with the week-long federal safety inspection. Meanwhile, the rebels go over their own plan for a mass jailbreak of the Deadmen during the same week. Rokaru explains that they still must be wary of the Undertakers, and Nagi explains that they are Tamaki's elite anti-Deadmen task force. Rokaru shows hacked footage that reveals how Genkaku simply dodged Ganta's attack. Ganta says that it isn't how it happened, but Rokaru isn't convinced, saying that he has been caught in a lie, and tells Nagi that Ganta is just a brat, undeserving of joining the group. Ganta explains he has yet to accept their offer and insults them all before leaving. Elsewhere, we see that Tamaki does some bowling with his father's head, as he proclaims he is now king of the hill. In a training facility, Senji becomes furious when Ganta tells him that he went up against an Undertaker. Ganta reveals that he had met Nagi, who Senji is very familiar with. He explains that the higher-ups had matched them up against his own wife in battle, and he threw the match. As a penalty for losing, Nagi lost his vocal cords, and Tamaki decided to punish his wife as well for being part of a fixed match. They attempted to run, but Genkaku shot her. Nagi couldn't even cry her name as she bled to death in his arms. Later, Ganta apologizes for his behavior and explains that he understands the urge for revenge very well. However, Nagi says that it is not about revenge. He simply wants their freedom and admits that he has a baby girl on the outside. In bed, Ganta struggles to understand Nagi's ability to forego the urge for revenge that he can't resist. He asks Shiro what she would like to do more than anything, and she would like to eat forever. When asked for a more serious answer, she says that she wants the giant shiny circle outside, and Ganta determines she is talking about the Ferris wheel. She is in disbelief when he explains that it is actually a ride, and although it is only for guests, he promises to take her on it one day. Elsewhere, we see a couple of Undertakers trying to figure out who Shiro is, and ask someone if everything has been prepared. The person says yes, and he is revealed to be Rokaru. At the rebel hideout, Karuko can hardly hold back her excitement for their impending battle, and Nagi attempts to get her to conserve her energy. Ganta shows up to apologize to everyone, but they hold no hard feelings. He turns to see Shiro, telling her that he doesn't want her to get involved. She refuses to leave, but he tells her that they won't go to the Ferris wheel anymore if she doesn't leave. She begrudgingly agrees, but is told by Karuko that Ganta only wants to protect her, and that's what love is all about. Nagi explains that the jailbreak is only one part of their mission, and that to expose Deadman Wonderland is their goal. He explains that a data chip acquired by Rokaru contains proof of all of Tamaki's illegal activities, and that they must smuggle it out. They go over their plan one more time and head out. Later, just as planned, the alarm system is going haywire, sending security into chaos. Nagi uses his branch of Sin to infiltrate the security room with Rokaru. The bigger group of rebels must get creative in order to cross a bridge, as it has a built-in pressure sensor. The strategy fails, however, and a powerful crowd control robot chases after them. Karuko calls Ganta's name, entrusting him with the data chip so that she can stay behind and assure the rest of the group get away safely. We then get a glimpse into Karuko's past, where the rebels complain about having a nutcase as second in command. Nagi explains to Karuko how the belt she wears around her neck gives him assurance that someone he trusts greatly is near, and he knows that there is much more to her than just being a great warrior. For that reason, along with a bit of intuition, he wanted her to be his second in command. Back to the present, Karuko reveals that all she ever wanted out of life was him. She is already prepared for death and uses her ability to make a final stand. Nearby, Ganta expresses his concern for Karuko, and the rebels remind him of her dedication to their mission, bringing his focus back. The group discuss how they must now wait on Nagi and Rokaru to bring down the service elevator that will take them out of Deadman Wonderland. In the control room, Nagi prepares to activate the elevator when a young girl arrives. He wants to help her, and she reveals that her name is Hibana, a second grader that is done with her homework and must now do her chores. He tells Rokaru to activate the elevator for the others, and requests that Hibana come with them. He turns to see that Rokaru has ignored his command, and turns again to hear Hibana explain how she is the commander of the 3rd Undertaker Battalion. Nagi attempts to attack her, but is shocked to find that his branch of Sin has no effect, and he comes to the realization that Rokaru must have manipulated the footage showing Ganta's failed attack. Hibana explains that all Undertakers have something in their weapons called Worm Eater, that oxidizes the virus in their blood, making it disintegrate. Nagi can't let go of the obligation he has to free his group, and attempts to fight back to no avail. Hibana can hardly hold back her lust to kill, but reveals that Genkaku told her not to take Nagi's life. However, she gets creative, wanting to use a brutal technique involving causing several cuts without killing the target, called the Lingering Death. Nagi antagonizes her by expressing pity for her poor parents and calling her a brat. That word seriously upsets her, and she has memories of the torture she experienced as a child. She causes massive damage, but Nagi is undeterred, creating a distraction so that he could perform a sneak attack on her while simultaneously activating the elevator. The group is completely unaware of what has happened and blissfully discuss what they will do on the outside. They reach the top and are shocked to see that they have fallen into the Undertaker's trap. Genkaku is disappointed to not see Shiro with them as the Undertakers carry out their orders. Back at the control center, Rokurou is impressed by Nagi's accomplishment but explains the odds of the rest of the group accomplishing their mission is much worse. He explains that Takami had known the Scar Chain's plan all along, and that there were easier ways to take them all out, but Takami wanted to do it the flashy way. One of the rebels tells Ganta to protect the chip with his life and that he must do everything he can to get it to the outside world. The man gets killed and tells him that he is the Scar Chain now. Nagi tries to send a message to their hideout and Shiro walks in to find a person she thinks is Ganta, but she quickly realizes it is actually someone she has never met. Genkaku mocks Ganta's interest in Ace Man, revealing an alternate ending where the bad guys win. One of the Undertakers comes to get him as they are being called away, and they all leave. Shiro appears, relieved to see Ganta alive, and desperately asks that he give her the data chip. He can't understand how she knows about the chip at all, and she takes it from his hand. She frantically tosses it into a fire, destroying the chip and ruining their mission. She can finally breathe a sigh of relief, knowing that Ganta is okay. Thanks for watching. The links to part 1, 2, and 4 will be in a pinned comment below.